So I give you this call to action. Join a phone bank, knock on your neighbor's doors, get to the polls, take someone to the polls, remind people that there is an election coming up. And don't just vote on November 4th. Get active in between. After Election Day, the work continues.
Action, Representative Cephas, was a recurring theme I heard two speakers come up and say about the message that you delivered on today.
We cannot sit this out. We cannot take our time. We cannot take our foot off the gas because, again, our democracy is slipping through our fingers, but we must get to the ballot box. The first Black Episcopal congregation in our nation, founded more than 2 centuries ago, and to lift up the stories from our past that speak power to our present. As was stated, I am State Representative Morgan Cephas, representing the 192nd Legislative District. I proudly represent 60,000 of our neighbors from Overbrook Farms, Overbrook, Winfield, Green Hill, Haddington, and Carroll Park. Please blame it on my head and not my heart if I forget a neighborhood. I want to first start by thanking your leadership in this congregation for inviting me. Thank you, Father Shaw, Wendella Fox, Elaine Gillison, and the entire Octavius Catto Voter Education Ministry for inviting me here today. Thank you for inviting me on this day where we not only talk, but we honor our legacy. Legacy that we know in this moment, there is an attempt not to just erase, but there is an attempt to ban, to rewrite, and diminish our contributions to this country. And now more than ever, this will require us to cement our own stories, which is why it makes it even more important that we rename the street outside after Reverend Absalom Jones, the founder of this great church. So every day someone walking along the street will not only ask the question about who he was, but will learn the contribution he made to this city, this state, and to this nation. In establishing this church, he provided not only a spiritual home, but a statement of autonomy, dignity, and agency for Black people in Philadelphia, and at a time where they were not welcomed and consistently under attack. If they could survive and thrive in that moment, we should be able to do the same with what we are dealing with. It is equally important that we just this past week introduce and will pass legislation in City Council to rename the Winfield Library Branch after the Reverend Louise Bishop, to again honor her history and our legacy in this city and in this state. She was the first Black woman to represent the 192nd Legislative District in Harrisburg and was a staunch advocate for the advancement of our children. Please give her a round of applause. Today we honor another man's legacy who demands our attention and a place we can pull from to drive our work, Octavius Catto, and to reflect on how his life summons us in this moment to overcome voter apathy and reclaim civic purpose, not just on Election Day, but every single day that we occupy this earth. Born free in 1839, Catto, we know, was educated, disciplined, and committed to equality in every realm: education, civil rights, public policy, and social life. He became a teacher and a principal at the Institute for Colored Youth, where he had been a stellar student, focusing his work on tirelessly on preparing the next generation of educators specifically for Black people. The legacy continues at the institute, which is now known as Cheyney University, where there is still a continued effort to diversify our teacher pool in the time that we know this level of intentionality is under attack. And in exciting news, don't tell anyone I told you, Catto's Cheyney University will soon co-locate here in the city of Philadelphia at the Community College of Philadelphia to continue diversifying that teacher pipeline while removing the distance barrier, and this is also helping to cement legacy. But there are several parts of Catto's story that is often missed and equally important if we want to talk about the whole and the entirety of his legacy. Tragically, on Election Day, October 10th, 1871, Catto was assassinated. We're often told that the man who shot him because he was registering people to vote. But it was the violence in the face of democracy, intended to silence not just the black vote, but to silence black advancement. It wasn't just him registering people to vote. It was him desegregating those streetcars, desegregating the Franklin Institute. It was recruiting the 100 black soldiers to fight against the Confederacy, all about the advancement of black people as to why he was killed that day. And he did all this by the time he was 32. On January 2nd, 1865, Catto delivered a speech in Philadelphia to celebrate the second anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. And I'm paraphrasing, but the theme of his speech was acknowledging for the good of the nation that every element of its population be wisely instructed in the advantages of a Republican government, which I read to mean that this moment we must remember our prosperity and advancement is linked with one another. And our faith tells us that we must care for the least of these, the outcasts, the sick. Because there is the famous quote that we all know. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unions, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade union. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. When they came for me, there was no one left to protect me from what was coming.
Father Shaw, I say to you that not a whole lot of places, and I mean this, and call it a confessional if you'd like. I would love to be able to tell you that I was welcome to worship anywhere I wanted to go worship. But I'm a feeling person. And you know when you walk into a place, when you're welcome. This St. Thomas family welcomed me. And I will never forget you all for believing in me. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so I want to affirm, and he's not here, I want us to give a huge round of applause to former Mayor Jim Kenney. Yes. We here in the city of Philadelphia have found a way to lift up our legacy of supporting those who have paved the way for many who came behind them to follow. And for Catto, his life and legacy is celebrated and etched in stone in two very important ways. First, the larger-than-life statue that stands outside of City Hall. It is now the gathering place. It is the prime gathering place when anyone wants to come and organize to have a protest, a march, a rally of any kind to profess their belief and whatever issue it is that they are advocating for. So I am grateful to former Mayor Kenny, one, for raising the resources necessary in order for it to get done, and quite frankly, for him having the vision and the ability to see it through. Father Shaw and St. Thomas, I want you to remember this from me. Our people, when I've communicated with them across this city, need more than a powerful speech from those who are elected to public office and have a seat at the table. We can't be so excited when you give us the opportunity to lead, so excited to have a seat at the table. I'm at the table. But then you forget the assignment while you're at the table. When Mayor Kenny formed the Catto Scholarship Program in partnership with the Community College of Philadelphia, that was a tangible way that he could also invest in making sure that the next generation of leaders who did not necessarily have access to the resources that were necessary to pay for that education. And if you all don't think that student loan debt has been weaponized as a tool to prevent us from gaining access to higher education, I just encourage you to strongly pay attention to what we are seeing in this world. When we think about Catto here in the city of Philadelphia, and we think about him as a champion in particular for voting rights, I want us to also remember how he used his seat at the table in whatever lane, because this is another thing that's been a little troublesome for me as mayor of the city of Philadelphia, as we watch many attempt to navigate this environment. We all have a special gift in a different lane through which we find a way to contribute. For those of us who are elected, we have used our voices, we have used our votes and our seats at the table. But some people deliver in the struggle through the power of their creative genius. It could be your voice. It could be your musical talent. It could be your financial gifts at the table. It could be those men who were cooking. Whomever you are and whatever your talents are, remember that we are not a monolith. We all don't contribute the same. We all don't fight the same. But it is our collective efforts and our collective strength that makes it all move forward, and that's how we move the community forward.
View this entire Eucharist on our website and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and remember to click the update bell to catch the latest uploads from this historic parish. An Inverted Lens production for Historic St. Thomas, Philadelphia.